Welcome to PolyCast, a Civilization podcast focused on game strategy.
Dan Q.
Makalua.
The Me and Team.
Mad Jin. With guest co-hosts
Falfashard.
Resant.
All right, let's go.
We are recording.
All right, so
Go.
Maybe turn this bus around.
don't make me turn this podcast around.
Welcome to episode 193. I am guest today, Resant. I am prepared for nothing, and we will start with the Me and Team.
I'm only occupying your territory so that we can be closer.
Makalua.
It's all part of his plan to diplo-annex you.
Shard.
Stop touching me with your nukes.
Imagine.
I take personal unions seriously.
My nukes are big. It's hard for me not to touch by accident.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
It's hard for the nukes not to touch anyone if they touch everybody equally.
I believe in a thing called love.
Where is Dan, anyways?
He is, what's the easiest way to say that? I don't know. He's doing something.
Okay.
He's just not here. But this is the letting the inmates run the asylum plan.
Part 2.
Moving on, Mackie.
Now I have to find the topic list. Durr.
He has it
in the chat.
Skype chat. Just click on the link.
I know. I have to go back and see what are we talking about. Last time we couldn't quite get through all the things in Ghostu's dream of a spring 2014 balance patch, so there's a few things left that we wanted to cover. General changes. Great engineers, merchants, and scientists no longer delay each other from being born. I guess he wants all the pools for the great people to be separate?
Yeah, well, no fighting in the womb.
That's another PolyCast.
That's a big change. You would get a lot more great people.
Yeah. And they wouldn't be so great now, would they?
No.
No,
Everybody's special, nobody is.
There'd be a lot of great golden ages, where for whichever ones you didn't need otherwise.
Yeah, you wouldn't have to plan so much that you're trying to get a scientist out or a merchant out or something.
I would argue that that's a bad thing, though. That there's a reason that the Civ series has had a combined pull for so long.
Yep. Choices. Choices matter.
And because they know if it didn't have a combined pool, it would kind of be OP.
Well, yeah, and then you'd have to rebalance it completely. But even aside from that, it would just take away the strategy dynamic of which one you're going to make an effort to get as opposed to the others. Because you would just farm all of them.
Yeah. Going for a culture game where you can plant great engineers constantly and academies constantly.
God.
Yeah.
And then spamming out those merchants for the trade missions to get a bunch of money. Yeah, that's not OP. So, they would take a nerf hammer to them all, and then eventually they just drop the word great, and you just produce, an engineer that gets, 2 extra production on a tile or something like that. Maybe gives you 50 hammers.
Yeah. But the problem with that is still that would remove the choice aspect from the equation completely, because you would just get as many of them as you could get without, losing out on your other options.
Yeah. So, probably not a good plan in the long run.
Oh, but one I think people have been asking for a while, exact values for diplomacy modifiers are now visible. Mods are no longer required to see these values.
Yeah, because that's important.
Well, it would be nice to know, if I tell you no, is this going to make you slightly pissed or F you pissed?
I'm with them on that change, though, honestly.
That's what the color coding is for. If it's dark green, they like it. If it's light green, it's okay. If it's little red, then they kind of don't like it. If it's really red, then they hate you.
Color coding is crap. I hate when they do stuff like this. It's the worst with ping values. Like, your connection is 4 bar. What does that mean? It means nothing. What's my ping to the host? We're not telling you. No. It's the same thing here. The more experienced you are, the better grasp you have of this anyway, but there's really no reason to hide it.
Especially for newer players who may not have dealt with the diplomacy as much,
Mm-hmm.
They haven't learned enough to know.
I know red is bad, green is good.
You can put your numbers in red and green if you want.
You can make some assumptions, but I think it would be nice for players to be able to see, like you said, exactly how much that's going to affect.
It's kind of like when we're doing peace deals in Europa Universalis. There's a value to things,
No, there's no game. That doesn't exist.
What are you talking about?
That game has...
That's the thing that he's been playing hours and hours, guys. That doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. Not on this show.
Probably not on this podcast, yeah.
But yeah, okay, I mean, comparative-wise, yes, EU4 shows you everything.
Except for accurate tooltips, but that's funny.
Anyways, moving on.
Yeah, another good one, actually. Players may now request for an AI civilization to give them a missionary of their religion. Likeliness of this happening would depend on overall relations plus the religious flavor of the civ in question. That would be great. If you're stuck with an AI and you didn't manage to get a religion and they're sending all their missionaries the other way, it's like, hey, just one missionary, just one? I can take care of the rest myself.
Yeah. I mean, they send them to you when you don't want them, so...
So why can't they send them to me when I actually want them?
Yeah. And it should provide you a little diplomacy bonus.
Could also be for one of those oddball situations where, for whatever reason, your religion has been pushed out of your area and your cities, and you can't actually buy your own things to get it back. But maybe a city-state has your religion, and so they'd be able to gift you a missionary so that you could spread your religion back into your cities.
Well, I think they were talking about major civs, because city-states can't actually make missionaries. But yeah, for the majors, yeah, if you spread your religion to somebody else, and then some Seiko AI sent like half dozen prophets your way,
Isabella.
it would... Yeah, it wouldn't be a bad plan to find a way to get it back. Or even just get a Diplo bonus for asking somebody else to send their religion to you. Especially if you have two competing religions next to you.
Yeah.
Then you can pick which one that you actually want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because we actually do this in multiplayer with our own player civs. If two of us are on the same continent and the other religion is better, like, hey, can you send me a missionary?
Mm-hmm.
Why can't we not do that to the AI? All right, the next thing, cover promotions now apply correctly to units do not receive rough terrain defense bonuses. This is affecting siege units and mounted units in particular. Yeah, what was the point about getting cover on the siege towers? Not working, thanks.
Yeah.
But even for catapults and trebuchets, that would be great if that worked, and mounted.
Well, the cover promotion itself gives you defense against ranged, right?
Should.
It applies correctly.
Yes, but I'm guessing it was applying to cover and not to left.
Yeah.
Awkward.
Is it actually not reducing the damage you take?
Well, if it's not, then it's a big bug and should be fixed, yes. But if it is, but it's just not reducing it as much because you don't have rough terrain stacked bonuses, well, that's just too bad.
Yeah.
But all the promotions for defense and stuff like that in combat, they're just a stacked list of percentages.
Yeah.
So it really shouldn't not work for a specific promotion. I don't know. I haven't actually seen that not work.
Yeah, and half the time we're all taking damage increase promotions as opposed to cover, so.
I kind of agree with this next one, though.
Yeah, good old Krakatoa. Will no longer appear in unworkable ocean tiles. A check has been added to ensure the base tile is coastal. No bonus resources will spawn and be wasted on Krakatoa's location.
What? Krakatoa is there for looks.
I know. It's like last time I said, we totally fixed it, guys. It's workable now. How many games have we actually seen it workable?
They could make it a little bit more realistic like the actual Krakatoa and have little one-tile islands around it. You know, that way at least you'd have a way to settle a city on that spot and work it.
Yeah, see, that's still plausibly broken. I think they're mixing it up with the Great Barrier Reef because Krakatoa spawns on land, not on water.
Yeah.
I've seen it where there are coastal tiles all around it, just not land tiles.
Yes. That's what happens. It's one little hex out in the middle of the ocean with 6 coastal tiles around it, but there's no other place near it to land.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the check to ensure that the base tile is coastal doesn't really matter because you can have coastal tiles all around it.
Maybe it needs to be changed so that Krakatoa is a 2-tile or a 3-tile natural wonder, so the other 2 tiles can be something.
No. For that one, it probably could be something like check for landmass.
Oh, well, then you get to the calculations of what it counts as landmass, and a 1-tile island is a landmass.
That's fine by me. If it's close to a 1-tile island, it's better than now.
Oh, you mean close to
it.
counting.
Before,
Okay, I see.
Yeah, I would say just as long as land's within 3 range of it.
Yeah, put a couple little islands around it, or at least make sure it's, near land.
And then give it plus, 50 gold per turn. That way everyone wants it. and we'll fight over the water near it.
The one at more than Sir to Patsy.
Oh, so it'll be 50 gold a turn if Spain gets it to 100 gold a turn?
Oh,
Yeah, exactly. You
talk about
understand.
OP.
I didn't say what I said with balance in mind.
Speaking of things that aren't spawning properly that are wonders, the Great Barrier Reef will always have both halves workable and counts as a single natural wonder for the purposes of wonder count. Therefore, Master of the Great Barrier will have one more natural wonder tile than normal.
Well, both halves are workable.
Well, sometimes the way it spawns, one piece is and one piece isn't, and also when you discover it, you get the natural wonder count twice because of the two tiles.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a way to make it a one unit, even though it's two tiles.
Yeah, probably not with the current map generation system.
They could, though, ensure that both of its tiles are workable.
They usually are. It's just that you're going to get some maps where it's like the other piece is sticking a little bit further out, but it's fine. It's natural wonder. It doesn't necessarily always have to be workable constantly.
This reminds me that the Civ 4 mountain fish, there's a fish tile that could only possibly be worked if you settled on the tile that has a peak. So this is a long-standing tradition in Civ games to put resources on the map that you can't
We're going to put this resource
work.
out here and taunt you with them. Hey, even Civ 1, there were still fish out in the middle of the ocean where there's no way you could work them.
Oh, that's right. It's been there since the beginning, hasn't it?
Exactly. Tradition.
Yeah, so there you go.
We like our unworkable tiles.
Taunting us.
The Rock of Gibraltar must be attached to a larger landmass. It almost always is.
I don't know if it's just bias because I see it this way a lot, but a lot of times it's on the other side of a mountain on a peninsula. And it's like, how am I supposed to work that?
Well, because the Rock of Gibraltar, I think, has to be next to a mountain.
And then it also wants to be in a peninsula, therefore it's next to a mountain on a peninsula, and then, right, how's that useful again?
Yeah. Had its latitude restrictions tightened, so...
So who cares if it's at the South Pole? What is that?
I mean, that's ice issues and stuff like that, but whatever.
Yeah, speaking of ice issues, they would like the amount of ice at the poles reduced. A clear path around each continent's pole should be possible. I have news for you. I don't think that happens in real life, even.
But didn't they make a map without the ice at the North and South Poles?
Yeah, but they put all the ice in the middle.
Oh.
Yeah. So it was still blocking
Some
crap.
planet's cold. You need cold on the planet.
You could move through that stuff. Never mind that it's barely nicer in Antarctica than, like, Mars, but, you know.
I mean, I realize it's kind of frustrating on those maps where you've got a continent that goes from the top to the bottom and you don't have a port on the other side for a long time, so you can't go sail and find people, but it's not game-breaking.
They could clean up the ice lakes a little bit better. Certain situation where it's just like, I've got a coastal start, dirt, and oh, wait.
Oh, crap, I'm iced in.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a bit of a annoyance.
You just need a really early game submarine.
I definitely disagree with the next one, because that's just a little...
Trade route science benefits from culture now increase 1 point every era. That could be...
No!
Yeah, that could be a bit much.
It seems like that would be a little bit overpowered with your science.
So your trade route science benefits from culture now is better than an academy at the end of the game?
No.
I don't think they thought that one through.
Yeah, I don't think so.
You would definitely shorten games that way.
Yeah. I mean, I already don't like the science from trade routes the way it works now, but adding even more is just...
I think you can make a legit case that tech is already too strong relative to other investments in this game.
Yeah, I would agree.
Well, that's all for the general changes. What's next?
Yeah. Combat balance. A couple of changes to Lancers first. 1, they now upgrade into land ships, and 2, their strength increased to 28. Lancers into land ships, though? The Lancer's an anti-cav type of unit. Why would it go into a land ship?
New unit added. Anti-tank rifle, fail bullet combustion, anti-tank rifles upgrade into anti-tank guns into... Basically, they want to remove the Lancer from the anti-tank gun death march.
That's pretty much all the first, few items, yeah.
Yeah, Lancers upgrading into anti-tanks, and anti-tanks coming too late to be of any value leaves you with a bunch of Lancers just hanging around.
That's true. They're just sitting there going, doop-de-doop-de-doop. I'm cannon fodder now.
I like how they gave you, anti-tanks much faster, potentially, than you could get tanks in Civ 4.
Yeah.
You got AIs running around with anti-tanks fighting with standard rifles.
Oh, and then they made it even worse. They made them ranged units.
Ew.
The anti-tanks. And helicopters are also ranged units.
Range 1 ranged unit. Oh gosh.
Doesn't matter. It's a speed 8 ranged unit.
You attack without taking damage, basically, with that speed, yeah.
Hi, I've got 8 movement points. Don't mind me as I come in, do a ranged attack on you.
They go, whew, back out.
Bye. I mean, there is a concept of the tanks versus anti-tanks and all that other fun stuff, but...
Well, yeah, I mean, a counter should be a viable counter to something.
Well, it's always a question of Lancers and Cav upgrading through the tank and anti-tank line, but not coming sufficiently in time for the Lancer to still be upgradable.
Yeah.
Versus dead. I mean, realistically, the anti-tank gun has to come earlier, or they put in a second unit early after the Lancer for basically having something to be there.
Yeah.
Otherwise, increasing the Lancer's strength to 28, I think not. The Lancer's combat strength itself is just fine. It's stronger than a gunpowder unit, and with the free formation promotion, it's just as strong as a Cav unit. So I think it does its job quite well. Not to mention that there are unique units in the Lancer line.
You know what you should do is give them plus 50% against cities as well as the 28 strength.
You can. Just build pikes and upgrade them. With Siege. Every single time somebody tries to come up with a balance for Lancers or to try and make Lancers useful, there's always problems.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily because the ideas are problems, it's just because Lancers are problems. The Lancer Plus, like everything after the Lancer in the tech path, is just messy. And there's not enough units up there, comparatively to before Lancers. Otherwise, what do we got? Archers, composite bowmen, and crossbow units now have 25% weakness to mounted units?
No.
I don't mind nerfing archers. Nerf the archers down. Nerf them. Hit them with that nerf back.
Archers.
See, mounted, a horseman has, 12, 13, 14 combat strength. An archer has way less than that.
Protect your archers.
Composite bowman has less than that. Crossbow's relatively decent on their combat strength, though.
But at that point, they wouldn't be using horsemen. They'd probably be using knights, which would be stronger. And
yeah. Poof goes your bows.
Yeah, protect your bows. Make it less spammable.
They can go poof easily enough without the 25 bonus on the mounted.
I think it's meant to probably be the other way around. Weaker when you're attacking them.
Oh, because they're faster and more maneuverable, you don't get as much damage on them, is what they're trying to say?
Perhaps, yeah.
Perhaps. Or the fact that mounted units don't have defense.
Well, that's not our fault.
It's a good point, though. There's no particular reason that archers should be stronger against mounted units than other things if they don't fight, like, directly.
Yeah, maybe. But that would require a lot more coding of the system to start working out these little things. I mean,
still, compared to some of the stuff we have earlier, this would not have nearly the negative impact on the game. Like, you could probably get by with this just fine.
That's true. 90% of the time, if my archer is getting attacked, it's by melee, not mounted.
Yeah. It's not like mounted units are overpowered these days. They've not been overpowered for a long time.
Yeah. Oh, I thought this was in here for a good laugh. Catapults, trebuchets, and cannons now use their plus 200 bonus, or plus 200% bonus against cities on defense.
We have a promotion for this. It's called cover.
Yeah.
I don't think cover gives you 200%, Mackie.
Yeah, I know. It doesn't. When it's better defense against the ranged attacks from the city, you get that. There's a reason
Catapults and trebuchets and cannons are now immune to cities.
Yeah.
I know.
Holy crap. The concept for the boosted bonus versus cities is that a city has a wall. It's rather static. If you launch a giant rock at that wall, there's a good chance you're going to hit it if you're pointed in the right direction. Now, if the person behind that wall launches a big rock back at you...
there's a good chance they're going to hit you because you're kind of static.
And you don't have a wall.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm not sure the extra bonus really even just mentally fits the concept.
I don't know. The trebuchets of medieval times, I don't know that there are too many things that someone in a city could do to fire back at them. They had pretty impressive range for their time, and it's not like you could easily kill the crew because the trebuchets were huge.
Yeah, but they also had trebuchets and stuff in cities, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you only have so many gigantic rocks.
You have an entire city that you can break down.
That's
yeah, and
true,
I was going to say there's always the fun of, what was it, Greek fire and things like that, or boiling pots or lit oil in a bucket and you could just throw that at them, you know. That would like the trebuchet would fire pretty good.
Although realistically, I think that the city usually took way more of the damage.
Yeah, you don't usually just have those sitting in cities. Like, you don't lug trebuchets around historically. You would kind of build them pretty close to where you needed them.
Well, that's the other thing, too, is catapults and trebuchets usually, you go up to a city that you want to siege, and you chop down the local forest to build one.
Yeah, pretty much.
Versus in-game, you're building it in a city and dragging it all over the planet.
Yeah.
My suggestion for your defense against the city would be just to position all of your catapults, trebuchets, cannons to where you need them, move them all in at once, with your melee units, of course, going in first. Preferably weakened, because the cities tend to like weakened units to target, but you want the units that can withstand the attack, and then you just kind of wait it out.
Farm 3 range, farm 3 range, farm.
Yeah, I mean, there's another issue with city ranged attacks being super big.
Yeah.
At 2 range. Whether or not they should start at 2 range or 1 range instead.
Oh man, if they had 1 range, it would be much more difficult to defend, though. Like, the game is kind of balanced at them having 2 range.
Yeah.
It would just be archer hell if you nerf that down.
If you're going to cut down city range attack, you'd also cut down archer range attack.
Oh man.
Oh.
Big with that stuff.
Yeah.
I have to roll right up to the wall to archer them? No.
I'm thinking more on the lines of, like, shooting enemy melee units and then being stuck in place, blocking your other units from attacking them, and are now at melee range with the melee unit with an archer.
It's good times.
Yeah? Yeah, for the melee unit, sure.
Yeah.
For the city defending, sure.
I think we already talked about the XCOM squad last time.
Yeah, that was included with the other stuff when we talked about a new World Congress proposal. Leave my XCOM squads alone, I like them. If I get that far in the game, I want to have a little fun, okay? But now we have a lot of stuff and social policy changes. Let's mess up everything. No, I'm kidding.
Well, maybe. I mean, if you're giving a 200% siege unit resistance to cities.
Okay, under all of them, the policy tree-specific wonders are not unlocked until the player has taken at least one of the policies in the tree. In other words, opening the tree only does not unlock the wonder. This is intended to make both players more aware of the competition for wonders and restrict them to players willing to make more commitment to the trees. Hey, buying a social policy full stop is a commitment. It may only cost a small amount in the earlier game, but in the late game, it's a large chunk of points. Come on.
And, by the way, the opening policy does count as one. So, we've already gotten exactly what the guy wants.
Good times.
The game already has it.
It's taking away from, your other policy points as well. Even if it's a small amount, it's still one less policy somewhere else if you're not willing to commit to it. I generally wouldn't take a policy just to open up one wonder if I'm not going to actually put points into it.
Commerce, Big Ben.
Well, this is true. Big Ben is another.
Patronage, Forbidden Palace. But I get his attempt at it because I think part of the problem is that the AI doesn't tell you that they've opened a social policy tree until, well...
They're already 2 or 3 in and you're like, holy crap, they went honor. Shit.
Yeah, that's just a UI problem where you don't get told that the first policy in a tree is actually in there because opening of the tree doesn't technically count for the UI for some strange reason, but it should, obviously. That way you actually know that they opened it. But since policies don't just go everywhere and spawn easily, yeah, that'd be a little more painful to move the wonders.
So let's see, things we're going to mess with in tradition. Oligarchy city defense bonus reduced to 25. What is it now? 33?
50.
Why would you reduce it?
Yeah, what's unbalanced about it?
We need to keep nerfing tradition and liberty until honor is the path once again.
Yeah, but when anybody talks about tradition being strong, no one cares about oligarchy.
I know, that's why I can't remember what the percent is. That's that last thing I have to get to finish the tree, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody needs that.
That'd be awful.
Liberty, collective rule, where you got the free settler and the production bonus to settlers. Now the prerequisite for Republic, which is +1 production per city, 5 bonus to buildings instead of the other way around. What's wrong with the way it is?
Because...
They used to do it the other way.
Yeah.
Everybody wants
vanilla.
the settler first again?
It got pushed to second because Liberty was overpowered.
Yeah, there is a reason it got pushed to second.
Yeah,
Oh no,
I guess.
you have to wait an extra 10 or 20 turns to get that next policy to get the settler. For me, when I go Liberty, that usually comes out just about right. In terms of, have I gotten some happiness hooked up? Do I know where I even want to put this city yet?
Gotta like the meritocracy one, too. It's 2 gold per turn in every city connected to the capital to defray the cost of building a road.
If you're doing your trade routes right, you don't need that.
Well, yeah, but now you would get that on top. I mean, yeah, getting your stuff sooner matters, so it would buff Liberty. I don't know really what you need, but...
I like Liberty, but I think it's fine.
Adding gold per city connection isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I wouldn't necessarily add that to meritocracy. Maybe to Republic.
Yeah, like a +1 gold to go with the +1 production?
Yeah. Or to the finisher to get rid of the free great person.
No, I like the freaking
Oh,
person.
people wouldn't like that.
Oh, you don't steal my scientist.
It doesn't fit. It doesn't fit the theme. But that's just my opinion on that one. Doesn't fit the theme, shouldn't be there.
Who cares about theme?
Apparently Mitchin does.
His suggestions for honor, they're pretty lousy.
Oh, boy. Opener now. Oh, yeah, honor. Let's go to honor here. Opener now grants gold per kill equal to the unit's combat strength whenever a non-barbarian unit is killed in addition to its other effects.
Wow.
What the hell?
That's the finisher.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the finisher.
So what's the point of finishing honor if you get the gold now?
Well, look at the other stuff he's adding to it. You would +1 culture and +1 happiness for every military unit a player owns.
What?
Why would you go further down honor? Let me think about this.
Well, that's military cats later, but good God.
Why would you play the game if you're getting 1 culture and 1 happiness for every military unit? All you'd be doing is sitting there spamming units constantly.
It's spam scouts for crying out loud.
Yeah. Here's my scout charge. I'm getting +50 happiness.
You would have an unstoppable ICS with that ability alone, because you would be able to afford more units as you got more cities, which would allow you to afford more units, which allow you to build more cities and take more cities at the same time, all getting gold for killing enemy units on top of it. That would be great. Definitely rush honor every game now.
Yeah, +1 culture from every military unit. Social policies, yes, I'll take every single last one of them, thanks.
Yeah, sure.
It's more like if it was +1 culture and +1 habits for every 10 or 20 or something, but not for every single unit.
The finishing bonus now grants a one-time culture boost. Every captured city equal to the player's culture per turn times the population of the captured city. It also causes great works from the other civilizations to grant double culture.
What?
From killing, any enemy unit remains unchanged is added to the opener's bonus.
So you get double gold from killing?
Apparently, yes.
Yes.
Wow. I can understand that honor needs a boost to balance out tradition and liberty as an opener. I fully understand that concept and why people keep talking about honor for changes. But seriously!
You know, Phil was just talking about how you balance and you fall over on one side.
Yeah, you like pancake flipped it to the other side there.
Professional army now reduces chance that a building in a conquered city would be destroyed by 50%.
That actually makes sense, yeah.
They would know better than to go looting and pillaging, so yeah,
Right.
okay.
I agree with the warrior code one.
Yeah.
I'm confused about the discipline bonus because I'm pretty sure it applies to everything.
And you don't get the free great general anymore from warrior code.
I can agree that switching warrior code, the production bonus in honor, to all units so that it's actually usable throughout the entire game.
Yeah. Slightly lesser bonus, but all units, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm fine with that because, I mean, that makes it useful. Yeah, the rest is back to the drawing board.
The rest is a smidge on the strong side. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Piety, just a couple of changes. First one, adopting piety grants +1 culture per shrine and temple in addition to the normal reduction of the production cost of these buildings.
I don't know. I feel like piety was supposed to be mostly faith-based, and if you wanted the culture...
It's trying to move it back towards the old piety, which was kind of a religious culture hybrid.
Yeah. And I think part of the problem is if you open piety, then you might not necessarily have the culture to push through piety as quickly as, say, tradition or liberty or even honor. So, I mean, that's probably where they're coming from on that one. That's a lot harder to finish it. But the thing is, finishing piety gives you a full religion and then some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, as you're making your religion, you can pick all the cultural-related boosters.
Yeah, you could do something like take both pagodas and cathedrals.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. The other one, religious tolerance now permits you to choose which additional pantheon bonus you receive from all the religions present in your cities. The default will be the second most popular. How are you going to do this on an interface? Because that's going to be different from city to city depending upon the pressure from other religions.
Yeah, I mean, when you have one follower of two different religions, then, you get the wrong one as the one that's picked at random, probably. I guess I could see people being a little upset that you don't get to pick the right one, but yeah. UI-wise, that could be a bit of an annoyance. Even gamey-wise, it can end up being a little gamey. And micromanagement that you don't necessarily need.
Yeah. When we have to go through city by city and say, take this pantheon, take this pantheon, take this pantheon. Oy.
Oh, scholasticism.
Oh, gosh, yeah, this in patronage. Scholasticism increased to 33% from 25% of allied city-state science. Oh, gosh, like you don't get enough with scholasticism?
Rubber stamped, I approve.
You don't get a lot from scholasticism, but the problem is scholasticism kept getting nerfed because you kept getting a lot.
Yes. Once you get enough city-states allied under, it just starts rolling in like crazy. If you're already in patronage, you're trying to court every city-state in sight. You're going to have so much just in terms of how many city-states you have. It doesn't need a percentage buff.
With all the vast volumes of science and beakers in the game, not sure we really need to up scholasticism.
The problem is you do want to make sure you have a reasonable distribution as to what makes them available against other choices.
Yeah.
So if patronage has been nerfed and yet the game has changed around it since then, it would be worth looking at. I mean, I don't know offhand what's reasonable science from patronage versus other trees. But this one does not necessarily strike me as, say, military caste. It could be reasonable, potentially.
Well, I mean, a third bonus is better than a quarter bonus when it comes to the math in-game.
Well, of course, but...
I mean, there's some plausibility around that, but I just worry about that scholastic, rationalist, yada, yada, yada.
Well, you could also take a look at rationalism.
I'm not even looking at rationalism on this list.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Zach, he is nerfing it, so maybe that's why he's buffing patronage.
Aesthetics. Fine arts bonus culture increased to 100% of excess happiness.
Yeah.
I did have a game recently where I was making 60 or 70 some extra happiness per turn.
Well, basically that would give you that much extra culture.
I'm not sure that's a good plan to go up to 100%. Because you can have the Brazilian plan where you're like producing over 100 among other stuff. So if you're banking an extra 100 or something in the late game, that could be worth
ridiculous.
Almost half. Well, maybe up to a third, depending, of your culture output.
Commerce. The tree opener now grants an additional trade route. That would actually be nice, because for civs that aren't in Venice, an extra trade route wouldn't be too bad.
And civs that are Venice who are going to go commerce no matter what.
Exactly. One extra trade route's really not is a drop in the bucket for Venice.
2 extra trade routes, but yeah.
Yeah, you know what I meant. Figuratively. Wagon trains now grants +4 gold to sea trade routes as well. Well, you might need a new name for that then.
It's called exploration. Sorry, commerce is not about that. I mean, unless his whole plan here is to do money in commerce and exploratory type stuff only in exploration.
Yeah, there's a note about that in exploration, that the +4 gold for trade route that was in the treasure fleets got moved to commerce.
Yeah, grants cargo ship's defense equal to an embarked unit. All embarked units gain embarkation with defense promotion. That basically doubles their embarked defense. So basically, your cargo ships would gain combat strength, which they don't have now. They'd have to be attackable at that point, and still not movable by you.
You.
So they could get stuck on the map in a specific spot because they can't move down the line that was defined for them. Okay then.
Permanent AI cargo ships blocked.
Yes, and since they don't actually complete their loops, because they tick down every time they complete their loop, they'd never be able to move them again. Or, change them to somewhere else.
I should point out that was an exploration, not commerce.
Yeah, that was an exploration.
Back up in commerce, Mercenary Army now grants a 10% reduction in unit maintenance costs in addition to the purchasing of Landschnecks.
Rubber stamp approved. I'm mixing that with honor.
Yeah, I want to rubber stamp that one too. I mean, because sometimes you take that and you're not necessarily going to have a chance to use the Landschnecks depending. So having to spend my policy points on that and getting a little something else out of it, it's not so bad.
Well, I agree, a little something else out of it, but commerce, yeah, is again one of those ones that you don't always take. And then I guess that's okay, because if it's not something you always take, then
Yeah,
That's a good
and
thing.
Yeah.
the 10% reduction is thematic with Mercenary Army.
Oh, more science.
Yeah, mercantilism
Yay.
now grants +1 science permit in market, +2 science for rank, and +3 science per stock market. Holy crap! Are you serious? Exactly what is... Other than telling us we shouldn't be investing, what has Wall Street taught us lately? Science?
Oh, wait for it. Adopting all policies in tree grants an additional trade route slot. So,
No. You gave us a trade route the first time. That was cool. This is... Yeah, you're getting a little crazy.
so that's 4 extra trade routes for Venice. Because they're finishing it no matter what.
Yeah, what is this, the Buff Venice tree now?
Apparently.
No, I think this is the try and convince people to take commerce when you're not playing Venice.
Yeah.
Right?
Which, I mean, is a good plan to try and convince people to take commerce.
There's a lot of money in science
Why
here
would you
now.
take commerce?
I almost always dip a little bit into commerce.
Commerce and rationalism. Great.
Other 2 things in exploration that we didn't get to earlier was the navigation school now grants all embarked units +2 speed in addition to the bonuses to Great Admiral speed and generation. So you get a mini Great Lighthouse?
England! I mean, is already embarked unit speed boosts in the tech tree already, so if you would remove one of those and then move it here,
That,
probably not as bad.
yeah. And now, adopting all policies in exploration permits archaeologists to be purchased with faith in addition to Great Admirals. Archaeologists are not great people. They're awesome in their way, but they're not great people.
They're not all Indiana Jones.
That's right.
Well, you can buy other types of units with faith. So I think the workaround here is because you're not allowed to buy archaeologists, period.
Which means you have to be strategic with where you build them, how fast you do, and then what ruins you're going for.
Yeah.
Or you could just finish exploration.
I mean, the whole buy Great Admirals with faith is just crap. No one will ever do that. So I can see the point, but not sure archaeologists with faith is a great plan. I could see a hyper-faith archaeology splam.
Yeah, I was going to say the couple of games where I've got the faith train really rolling and been buying great people right and left, because the archaeologists would be cheaper than the great people. Oh my god, I would get every ruin, literally.
And rationalism.
Secularism reduced to +1 scientist per specialist. Hey, come on.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Nerf it down.
But that's the whole point of getting more science out of your specialist. I love it when I click into rationalism and get that, then boom, science.
People purposely do tech orders so that they open rationalism as soon as they can, finish tradition, and then go for that secularist plan, and it just burns them right through the Renaissance and the industrial era. So, yeah, reduce it down a little bit might make them want to look at other social policy trees first.
Sovereignty's description now lists exactly which buildings it applies to.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks.
Rubber stamp approved.
Yes. Open or change from +10% science while Empire is happy to great scientists earn 25% faster. I still like the original one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes you will overexpand and be unhappy for a while, and this gives you sort of a counterbalance. Later, once you get your happiness under control, you make up for some of the lost time from your people being, we're not doing anything.
Yeah, the insta-boost of 10% science when happy is much smaller than the insta-boost to 25% faster great scientists.
But if you've farmed out a lot of scientists already, how much extra science is that giving you, and how quickly is it giving it to you? I'm not sure that necessarily a huge buff.
Well, the great scientists earn 25% faster is already in the rationalism tree. Obviously, he's changing humanism to plus happiness from... Oh, wait. Library, public school, and observatory.
Well, okay. I didn't read that last line, but...
Library? Really? The hyperspam?
Yeah.
Oh dear, yeah, that would be...
Minimally universities.
Yeah, I was going to say, because everybody, no matter what they're going to do, is going to at least build libraries everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's so early on.
Yeah.
You're likely to also build universities everywhere as well, but that takes more effort.
Yeah, that's a good bit down the tree, which is libraries opening moves.
But the faster great scientist, basically it means that your great scientist cascade will kick in earlier, which guarantees that the end of the game is going to be faster.
Yeah, that's true, I guess.
And if you were playing a science-focused Civ on top of it, oh dear.
End the game a lot faster than the science from Happy Empire.
Yeah, it would. Specialists have always been that way.
So, I think that finally covers the whole list.
Ooh,
Yay!
So we have an email from Nick about going full liberty and full patronage. So he says, "Hi guys, I've been listening to more than a handful of your podcasts, including your end-of-year ones with lists and suggestions. I know that liberty versus tradition debate has been ongoing forever, but I haven't heard you guys talk about liberty the way I usually use it. Full liberty and full patronage. Large maps usually, but not always. Getting 4 cities faster on hard difficulty settings ensures good luxuries and resources, good defense, and the opportunity to build units. To me, that's preferable to more food, especially with the free wonder thrown in." And of course he's talking about the pyramids there. "A great engineer and a free wonder on high difficulty levels, Immortal in it, or Emperor, to grab Machu or Chichen Itza, and also to take advantage of extra trade route happiness, city bonuses when attacking and puppeting enemy cities. My CS allies also give me happiness, culture, faith in units, depending on who they happen to be at the time. Tradition gets free stuff, but if you're going to use liberty this way, is the free wonder subsequent war bonuses of larger empires. Usually either join an AI when it's attacking another civ early with a small rush, or he waits till artillery foreign legions to demolish a rival which attacked him early in the game. It's pretty powerful, right? Craig Magnus just wrote a post in the forum on the Liberty is Hard thread. I, of course, didn't actually read that thread because I didn't know that it was tied to the email response until now. Any observation? I think the concept he's going for there is that there's different ways to use liberty and different ways to think about liberty versus tradition. A lot of people use the free great person as a scientist for an academy to hyperspeed that way. But what he's talking about is using it for an engineer and either grabbing a specific wonder that you need or even just planting it as a manufacturer so you can build out more units or build more stuff faster, which tradition doesn't really give you that. And of course, if he's going liberty, he wants to go to war, so he'll have more cities to build more archers or other such things when he goes to do an early game rush. And basically, you get a larger empire than you would with tradition, but of course it's spread out more and you have more luxuries, you have more strategic resources, you have more of this, that, and the other. That's the crux of the tradition versus liberty plan, is that tradition, you can grow tall and have more power per city, but when you go liberty, you're supposed to have more space and therefore have more luxuries and more strategics and more opportunities to build things. Full patronage you can do with tradition as well. I don't foresee patronage actually benefiting liberty any more than would benefit liberty, given that it's all city-state related.
Unless one side gets more gold, but...
Yeah, liberty's more likely going to get more gold because you have more space and more population to work more luxuries.
Yeah.
Or you're selling more luxuries to get more gold. I think what he's trying to get at is that there is a different way of using liberty than just trying to hyper-spam, or thinking that, oh, ICS is dead, therefore liberty is dead.
I'm pretty addicted to liberty, actually, because I like getting that free settler, free worker, and I also like finishing it up to getting a great profit and getting my religion. That tends to be what I do with liberty.
Yeah, there's that as well. You go liberty, piety. I definitely see that as a solid plan, and that definitely works together.
For some reason, I always seem to do both liberty and tradition. That may be my mistake.
Maybe. I mean, if you want to build a really big empire, you start with tradition, and then after you get your colleges and everything up, you switch into liberty and just spam away.
Yeah, mix and match between them, and then to finish them.
Not a bad plan, because the extra 2 food per city, if you go super wide with liberty, that actually is a good combination, because everything will grow a lot faster. But then you're completely missing out on stuff like rationalism or...
It's true, it does slow me down getting to the others.
It's good to prioritize.
Yes. The liberty and tradition debate usually defines around the scientists and how quick if you can do a four-city tradition empire, is that, sufficient to beat a full-on liberty empire because of all the problems with science going super wide because of science penalties now for being wide, etc., etc. So there's a lot against liberty on that respect. But if you choose to use liberty slightly different, like building your empire by war and not using honor, then yeah, I could see a different way of doing it.
We have a message from Slow, SLO. Hey, he gave me a name I can actually read. That's, what's up with that? I was expecting to see something like the Hua Gods, like strong bad emails or something, the way things have been going for me. But alright. Hello all. I was wondering if you could go over some tips as to when you can pull people out of the fields to make them specialists. I seem to have a hard time giving up the hammers and food for specialists, even though I know I need them. At what point should you give up growing, which gives you science and hammers, for just science or hammers? I understand that if you are going for cultural victory, you will need to give those things up for culture specialists, but what if you are going for a science victory? Your pops give you science. The more pops you have, the more science you get. So again, how do you know when to switch over to a specialist? Also, how much science does each pop give you? Thanks. It's a somewhat weighted question. I mean, what tiles are you giving up to run the specialist? What is your happiness at? Can you afford to grow? Can you reasonably farm out a great scientist such that your science would be much better from running the specialists? There's a lot to consider there.
Well, I mean, it depends on if it's a core city or not. The general concept I think most people would agree with is grow. And if you're going to go for a just cutoff line, I would say 10 pop before running science specialists. Because the lower pop you are, the harder it's going to be for you to run specialists and still grow the city.
Yeah.
Unless you're doing a farm of cities, going, say, Liberty super wide with 5 pop cities, and you're running specialists, you're running both university specialists in all the cities, where you're not planning on growing past 5 pop, provided you can feed those specialists, then you still want to grow, because you're going to need those cities to still grow and build things. And if you're trying to do that, then running scientists are going to chew up your food and slow you down, and you will get further behind if you start them too early.
Well, yeah, you need to be able to feed them, but what kind of infrastructure you have, what kind of infrastructure you need, you mentioned it's a core city or not. Yeah, it's still a micro game to some degree. If you really want to optimize it, you probably need to figure out which is going to give you more stuff, ultimately.
Yeah, it's the long run stuff rather than short term.
Yeah.
So population gives you 1 science per population, to answer the secondary question. But when you add a library, you get an extra 1 science per 2 population in the city, and if you add the public school, you also get another 1 per 2. So in total, you tend to get 2 science per population after public schools. But that's ignoring the percent increases and stuff like that. That apply to everything. Now, science specialist gives you flat 3 for the specialists. And if you go into rationalism and you take the nice little policy there, that gives you an extra 2. So you'll have a specialist that's worth 5, but that specialist is also a point of population, which means it'll be worth 6 on the base amount and then potentially up to 7 all by itself. So yes, specialists are far more powerful than just straight population.
Well, from a science standpoint, yeah.
Even on the hammer standpoint, population does not give you hammers, so...
Yeah. Well, it depends what you're working. You can work tiles that will...
Well, that does get a little harder, because working a mine with a point of population will definitely give you more hammers, long-term, than running an engineering specialist, comparatively, because there's no plus hammers per specialist for the engineer side, which is probably a good thing.
Here's my production city. Lots of farms.
Whee! Although, before somebody yells at me, there is ways to get extra hammers from specialists in the game. On the science side, though, yes, specialists are definitely far more useful, which is why they're limited in comparison to your science from population. But that's also why people go with massive amounts of universities everywhere and switch over to pure specialist science, if they can.
Next email, we have an email from Matt, and this is about spies and multiplayer. So he says, I would be very interested in hearing the thoughts of your panel on the following idea regarding spies and multiplayer games. In games against AIs, when your spy is in one of their cities, you can gather intrigue about their plans of war against somebody. In multiplayer games against human players, this option is not available in the same way, since the game cannot see into the head of the player. But it feels to me that similar information could be conveyed by other means. What I have in mind is that when your spy is in a city controlled by a human player, then occasionally instead of getting intrigue, you would get sight of all of their military units for a turn. This would allow you to make your own conclusions about if and against whom they are plotting. It would also be useful to get information about their military in general when they do not happen to be at the top or bottom of the demographics. Do you think this would be a balanced way to get the same mechanic into the multiplayer, or would this be flawed in some way? Thanks.
Well, if it was on a timer, everybody would probably know about how long it was and would shuffle their units accordingly if they didn't want you to know what they were up to.
Well, what I was imagining, it would be on a timer, probably, but maybe a timer similar to the rate at which a spy steals technology or rigs elections, that sort of thing. So it would be different depending on when the spy got there and this and that, right?
Out of curiosity, couldn't you just follow their military around with the spy to some degree?
If you're talking about the old school spies, if you're moving them from tile to tile.
Yeah, just give like a physical unit, man.
Yeah, and
Give us our physical spies back.
No. What could possibly go wrong?
Another thought that I had is maybe you could get a message that tells you which players a person's military are close to. So if they're within a certain range of someone's borders, it might give you a message that says, hey, there's X number of units near here or whatnot.
Yeah, maybe.
I think even a temporary map hack in espionage is very questionable in multiplayer. There's a lot to be said for manipulating incomplete information through the fog of war. And I joked about the moving spy unit, but that's one of the biggest reasons that they were banned in multiplayer in Civ 4. Things that let you see your entire opponent's military. I don't know. I don't know that you need that in the game.
You can see their city in multiplayer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can't see everything all at once all the time.
Right. Another thought that I'd had is if it's not in the fog of war, so somewhere where you have been before, and again, if they're near a border of someone, so you wouldn't see someone just out in the wilderness somewhere, and it was somewhere maybe within the area of where that spy is, then it would show you those units for one turn every so often.
Or maybe if the spy was in the city on your border, it might show an extra 2 tiles into their territory on your border.
Maybe you could tag a city. So, you could see out of one city as it, of theirs.
You can already, on the map. If you have a spy in their city, without going into the spy mechanisms, you can see around the city.
Right, that's how I destroy cities with artillery.
Yeah.
I don't understand,
But you can't see more. That's the thing. You can only see a tile or so around it.
That's what I'm saying. Let it see the city radius, that city's culture, and nothing else.
You want to extend it out beyond...
Yeah, it would be nice to see other than just the tiles immediately around the city.
And if it's a massive city, then you can see a little bit further as a result. Or a Shoshone city or whatever. Wherever its culture borders have gone.
That would at least limit it to not the entire empire.
Yeah.
So it'd have to be per city.
Which means you'd have to actually, somewhat strategically pick where you're investing to look.
Yeah.
And then I don't know how cheap or expensive that should be. That's something that could be handled separately, but...
Apparently free, because you get the sightline for free anyway.
Yeah, but maybe you want to boost it for some inexpensive cost. That way you don't just boost it all the time.
Possible. Considering spies are very useful as artillery spotters, or bomber spotters. Already. Expanding it out so you see a little bit more space. Yeah.
Something.
Instead of the intrigue, yeah. Because obviously, intrigue on spies is completely useless in multiplayer.
Yeah, what's it for? Where you could do a patrol plane that could fly over a certain area, and for at least that turn, you know what units are where.
Yeah, it was really strong too. Stupid in my opinion, how strong that was. An airship revealed an 8x8 square.
Oh yeah,
ridiculous. So the ability to set up surprises at that point was much reduced. But spies were absolutely broken in Civ 4 multiplayer.
That's the
not
problem.
Just a little bit.
Is with a lot of these suggestions, it's we're trying to keep in mind about game balance and mechanics and not let things get abused.
And some of the things might be alright in single player, but when you add multiplayer into the equation, it's nope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or stuff like this where it's multiplayer only, not single player.
Yeah. BAFTA Awards. Brave New World expansion for Civ 5 was nominated in the category of Games, Strategy, and Simulation in 2014. XCOM Enemy Within, Forza Motorsport, and Surgeon Simulator They really mean it when they say strategy and simulation, but to me it seems a little odd that those two would be compared against each other.
Surgeon Simulator for the win!
Yeah, that's a entirely different kind of simulation there. Although, honestly, out of all these, I know I should be saying Civ should win. I kind of want Papers, Please to win.
That concept is just hilarious.
I can sort of see Papers, Please in it, but Surgeon Simulator?
It's a simulator of cutting people open. Okay.
Is that like the trauma center in like Wii, or is that an actual simulation of a medical procedure?
It's an actual simulation. You're moving your hand around, but it's like if you were using one of those extendable arm grips, like you squeeze to squeeze the hand, and you're just kind of flopping the hand around, trying to put a disc in a computer or pick up a phone or use a tool. It's the most awkward looking thing.
What's next? Farm Simulator?
Hey, if it's graphic enough, it could be useful for people like myself who assume that if I had to do surgery or something, I would probably throw up and make it worse, but I would be interested to find out.
I have a firm grasp of the sheer amount of information you would need to know before you would have even a tiny chance of doing decently.
Yeah, because the simulator game that I saw, I wouldn't call it a educational tool. It's just more of see if you can get the arm to be pointed in the right spot and then drag it to the right spot, and it does it for you, basically.
Now, you might learn a legit method of slowing down or stopping the bleeding until you can get the actual surgeons in, but you know.
Oh, yeah. But
that might be useful.
Call in today. In North America, the number is 301-637-7659.
That's 301-637-POLY.
In Europe, 44121-288-7659. That's 44121-288-POLY.
The only thing worse than being talked about is not being talked about.
For more information on PolyCast,
our sibling shows Modcast, Revcast, and Turncast,
or about PolyCast in general,
log on to the series' official website at thepolycast.net.
So, somebody want to get us out of here? Preferably alive?
I think we've lost opportunity to do that already.
So, okay, I guess I'll do it. This has been PolyCast episode 193. I have been joined by the Mean Team.
See you all another time.
Makalua.
Time to refill the caffeine.
Guest co-host, Alpha Shark.
Hey guys, bye.
And Raisin.
Do not tell Maki that she is keeping me up in science in our current game.
Oh, you've got spies on me.
No, I have not stolen two free technologies.
I thought I saw that message last night about something the Dutch doing thing, and I went, wait a minute. I'm so not Dutch being a player for some reason.
No, Mackie, I am not supporting rebels in your territory.
Yeah.
We're playing co-op, right? Right?
Co-op-ish.
Right, guys? Why are the ads so f***ing loud?
I heard some sort of singing.
I do not know why Ustream ads are so damn loud.
Yeah, Ustream ads are brutally loud.
Hey, listen.
Just trying to get your attention. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, other than loud ads, I think we're live now.
Oh, cool.
Hey guys.
Yeah?
Apparently they can only hear me.
Oh.
How exciting for them.
Difficulties.
Well, that's what we get in the post-produced version then. Stay tuned.
You can have a special episode of PolyCast in which you only hear one of the people, and then your listeners will come back in and fill in what was being said beforehand.
Yeah, Dan. Don't leave me in church when I have no coffee. Not a good plan. It is recording, so it's been recording the whole time.
This will be fun outtakes for Dan.
There's no Dan puns today, which is why everything's going bad quickly.
Ustream run on the Dan puns. It doesn't work if he doesn't get them. I'm kidding, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Just making sure. If Dan puts that crap in.
He's gonna put it in.
Record date February 15th, 2014. Civilization 4 and 5 sound clips. Copyright Take-Two Interactive. Copyright Civilized Communication at civcom.net.